Now, the High Court in Johannesburg recently had tough words for NERSA. It suggested that South Africa's energy regulator can't do its job, judging from how it's determined electricity tariffs over the last couple of years. Joining us for this conversation, Charles Hlebela is NERSA's head of communications. Good evening, Charles. It's a pleasure to have you on. We just spoke to community activist Desmond Desai, and you'd know he's been quite vocal on issues of electricity tariffs. In fact, I believe he's made several representations before NERSA on behalf of communities, and he seems to say that the blame where it comes to the tariff rate in this country should be laid solely at NERSA's door.
Good evening, and thanks for having us. Yes, I know Desmond. He always participates in the energy regulators' public participation processes. We regulate Eskom's revenue requirements in line with the multi-year price determination methodology. The methodology requires us, when we receive an application from Eskom, we have to consider that application, make an assessment of that application, but also conduct public participation process to get views and comments from stakeholders and general members of the public in terms of the application. After that, it's then that the energy regulator makes the decision, but also taking into consideration the impact of whatever tariff increase that Eskom is requesting to the economy of the country. We also look at the issues of affordability. So that's what the energy regulator handles revenue applications from Eskom.
It doesn't look like you've been doing a very good job with your calculations, given the High Court case that you've recently lost when it comes to that 69 billion rand cash injection that had been given to Eskom out of Treasury, and how exactly it should be allocated within Eskom's funds. And subsequently, what it means for consumers is that as soon as next year, people could be facing up to 15% increases in electricity.
Now, just to clarify, there's nothing wrong that we have done in terms of calculations. What we have acknowledged is that we didn't follow the procedures in terms of informing Eskom in terms of how we are going to deal with the funding, or support that they receive from government. That's the only procedural unfairness that we acceded to. But in terms of the calculations, we are of the view that what we have considered or calculated or treated the 23 billion, we are on the right track. I think I need to mention, Kathy, that the decisions of the energy regulator when it comes to tariff, it's not a simple mathematical kind of a decision. There are a number of factors that are taken into consideration. As I indicated, one of those, the impact to the economy, the affordability, to consumers and the like. So all those, issues are really taken into consideration by the energy regulator when making the decisions. And very, very important is that each and every decision of the energy regulator, it's based on facts and evidence. Hence, we conduct all these public hearings. We request written comments on Eskom's application, so that we can
you've raised the issue of affordability quite a number of times, and what is becoming clear is that electricity is going to remain incredibly unaffordable for the majority of South Africans, especially those who right now are struggling to put food on the table and who are having to rely on government grants in order just to get by. So the latest court decision and the increase in tariffs then that South Africans must bear in mind if, of course, you lose your appeal, should you take it through to the highest court in the land, South Africans still won't be able to afford electricity, and it doesn't change their circumstances.
No, the issue of affordability, Kathy, it's taken into consideration. When the energy regulator decided to treat the 23 billion support from government. One of the rationale was to ensure that Eskom does not over recover, and if NERSA, the energy regulator didn't treat the 23 billion injection from government the way it did, the tariff increase was supposed to have gone up by 22.59% for the 2019-20 financial year. So those are some of the issues that the energy regulator had to look at, to say that if ever we treat it this way, the tariff increases are going to go up, and the electricity consumers are not going to afford.
In an economy where many people are not going to be taking salary increases, where people have in fact taken job cuts, have taken salary decreases, do you think it's fair that the price of electricity is going to go up?
Well, when we receive an application from Eskom, the legislation says that we need to consider that application. And we need to, because remember that, Eskom, they are generating, electricity that is, fueling the economy. So they need to be sustainable, they need to be viable, But I think our role as the energy regulator is to ensure, that we strike that fair balance by ensuring that Eskom, is viable, is sustainable, but also ensuring that, the tariff, increases affordable and accessible to majority of the citizens.